Start with political reporter Taman Bradley with more on tonight's highlights. Taman.
Ray and Micah, good evening. This was everything last week's presidential debate was not. Dignified, thoughtful, and full of well-rehearsed one-liners. And both candidates delivered their lines well. Although at times both Pence and Harris ignored moderator Susan Page's questions, tonight the American people heard two very different visions for the country and two very different takes on America's response to the coronavirus. Senator Harris called the Trump administration's handling of COVID-19 the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country. Vice President Pence fired back. Let's take a listen.
They knew and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax. In spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan.
From the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. When I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about.
Vice President Pence was asked about the event nominating Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court, an apparent super spreader of COVID-19, and Pence declined to say holding that event was a mistake. In a stunning admission, Senator Harris left it open as to whether Americans should take a COVID-19 vaccine if one is developed while President Trump is in office. Pence accused Harris of playing politics with the virus and trying to undermine confidence in a vaccine. For her part, Harris dodged a question about Joe Biden's health, and she dodged repeated questions about whether Democrats will add more justices to the Supreme Court. On the economy, there were fireworks. It's a bright spot for the incumbent administration. Polls show President Trump with a slight advantage over Biden on trust to handle the economy. Senator Harris slammed the Trump administration's record, while Vice President Pence countered that growth and opportunity are on the ballot. Here that is.
On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing.
When Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy. President Trump cut taxes across the board.
These candidates came into tonight's debate with different tasks. Harris's goal was to do no harm, make the case for Joe Biden, and show she has the depth and understanding of world and domestic events, and to throw punches at President Trump. For Vice President Pence, a measured salesman of Trumpism, he sought to cast Harris as a liberal extremist.
The American people deserve to know that. Is probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019. More liberal than Bernie Sanders, more liberal than any of the others.
And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's, where he has referred to our men who are serving in our military as suckers and losers.
It was fascinating to watch the difference in style between these two candidates. Senator Harris's prepared lines were scripted in ordinary, everyday language. Meantime, Vice President Pence talked about V-shaped economic recoveries and et cetera. As he recovers from COVID-19, President Trump was watching the debate and he tweeted, "Mike Pence is doing great. She," referring to Harris, "is a gaffe machine." And by the way, guys, we should mention that fly on Mike Pence's head, unfortunately.
Yeah, Joe Biden has tweeted something holding a fly swatter. So,
oh,
yeah.
boy.
Yeah, right toward the end of the debate, it did get a little distracting there. Taman, thanks for that wrap up. Now.